everyone, and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my new and refreshed Golemancer, one of my favorite builds in the game. Now I am biased towards this build because it is focused around my unique item in-game, Aaron's Will, where you can have up to 4 golems at a time. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now the skills I'm using for this build is Summon Volatile Zombie, Summon Golem, Summon Wraith, Summon Skeleton Mage, and Dreadshade. If you want a breakdown of the army, you'll see at top left, we can make 6 zombies, 3 full golems. These are not nerfed in any way. 3 vanguards that get created based upon the death of your zombies. 2 permanent wraiths and 5 permanent skeleton mages. And of course, Dreadshade puts the bow on top, just boosting their damage to a very, very high level. Now, I really love playing zoo-style Necromancer. I know a lot of people like single Golem, single Archmage, single Abomination. That's not my style. I like having a big army following me around, and Golemancer is one of my favorites. And of course, again, because it's focused around my unique item, Aaron's Will. So you'll see right now, no problem. We're pushing 3,400 life, and of course, you can boost that a lot higher. And we just walk through, and the army takes care of everything, and single target is really good as well. Let me show you a boss fight with the Shade of Oribus, and you'll see how fast they get melted. All right, Shade of Oribus. The golems are ready. And light him up. Look at his life. 90, 80, 70. Okay, I better move around so I don't die. Get him. Get him. Simple, just keep the minions alive. And just like that, Shade of Oribus, you are... Get him, zombies. Get him. Dead. Bam. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, starting with Summon Wraith, and pay attention to the route that I show you. That's the way you want to take your points. So the first thing you want to do is come to the right and then down to snag this node, Twin Spirits. This is going to make it where you have permanent wraiths. They are going to be much stronger, much faster. They are going to be powerhouses of your minion army, but unfortunately you can only have 2. It is the best way to take them, and you want to further boost them with SOA. You then want to come to the right and get their multiplicative movement speed right here with Dark. And then you are literally just going to go around the horn this way with Reapers and Necrotic Hunger, and then come over and down. Now this tree here, based upon how many points you have. If you only have 20 points, then you won't take these 3. If you have 26 points, then you will take these 3 Dusk of the Living. Based on how many points you have, it will just tailor off right here. Moving over to our golem, and right now I can make 3 full-size golems. They are not nerfed in any way. Now the first thing you want to do is come down here and get AOS, and then get Tower of Bones. This is going to make it where your golems are going to be generating tons of threat. Again, you're going to have 3 of them, so a lot of the enemies are going to be focusing on just attacking them. These are your meat shields, and they do decent damage. You then want to come over to the right and get AOR. This is going to give them melee attack speed and movement. You then want to get Unnatural Speed, which is going to boost the movement speed of all your minions and your golems, and then Hunger. Now, Hunger is really going to help keep you alive. Your golems hits restore health to you and itself. This effect restores additional health per 2 vitality. So since you have 3 golems, and you've boosted their minion melee speed, or their attack speed, they're going to be hitting like crazy, which is just going to try and keep your life higher. It is a great source of sustain. Now, right now, as you can see, I have 27 points into Golem. A lot of people aren't going to have that many points. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull back on here, Unnatural Speed. You can only need 1 point into here, and then you could pull back on AOP, which is going to give your minions more armor. So if you don't have as many points as I do, pull back on Unnatural Speed and AOP. Moving over to Summon Skeletal Mage. Now for this skill, you want to actually go to the right first and spend 3 points and get this right here, Death Knights. That way you are no longer shooting, you are a melee warrior. Well, you're not, your mages are. Then you want to come to the left and take this route and get Grave Passage. In my opinion, one of the best movement skills in the game. Anywhere you can summon a minion, you can teleport. You can go through walls, you can go up elevation, down elevation. It is amazing. And you want to further take this with Death's Cavalry. This is what keeps you alive. Every time you use your movement skill, which is Summon Skeletal Mage, 9 of your minions come with you, which is great. That way you are always surrounded and protected. You then want to come down here, get Cellar Mortis, get Order of Death, which gives you another mage, and then you want to further boost their maximum health gained on crit and their crit multiplier. Now again, I have 27 points right now into Skeletal Mage. Points that you could pull back on if you don't have that many. Death Blossom, you don't really need this. You could then pull 2 out of here on Splinter Dominion, and then you would slowly pull out of attack speed. So 1, 2, and 3. Moving over to Summon Dreadshade, one of the staples in the Necro family. Now what you want to do is take this route first. It's going to give you increased area. It's going to make it where your minions no longer drain life, which is awesome because it'll kill your minions pretty quick. So you want to take this, but you're limited to 1 shade. It's going to give a boost to attack speed for your minions, and it's going to give you multiplicative damage and area for your minions. So this route is what you want to take first. You then want to come over here and get Lingering Doom, which is going to give you base necrotic damage, and you're going to get a 40% boost because you're going to take Blind Fury for your minions. Blind, you don't have to worry about when you're in melee. You more have to worry about it when you're in ranged. So you are talking about a 40 plus 24% boost to attack speed. Yes, 64% from Dreadshade. You then want to come up and over, and you want to get Martyrdom, which is going to give you armor based upon vitality. You then want to put 2 points right here into Flesh Harvest, which is going to buff based upon the minions missing health. And then the last point right down here into Dust Heart. Now, as you can see, I have 20 points into Dreadshade. If you have more points than I do, you want to put a final point right here into Flesh Harvest, and then the rest of your points want to come down here into Duskheart. All right. Last but not least, we are at Summon Volatile Zombie. This one's easy. What you want to do first is come up and over. This is going to turn your zombies necrotic. They are going to look very green and cool. It's also going to give them a kill threshold. It's going to give them multiplicative damage based upon if they are fighting a boss. And then they give you some stun chance and some mana efficiency. You then want to come down and over. You want them to vomit, and when they're vomiting, they are going to be shredding armor. Now, when you have these 6 points in here, what it means is when you have 5 zombies, it's going to give about 50 stacks of armor shred on the enemy, which is pretty good just from your zombies. And that is the main points that you need. Now, as you can see, I have 3 into Grave Attunement, which is going to give you less, so they're going to decay slower and give you more multiplicative damage. And the slower they decay, the more that they can vomit. And then if you come over here, you're going to counter this with for movement speed with Fervor, which is going to give you more multiplicative damage and movement. Of course, right now I have 25 points in. If you don't have the same 25 points, you just take it out of this node right here. Those are the skills. Moving over to the passives, and right now my Necromancer is level 100. For base Acolyte, I do have it in its standard tree: Forbidden Knowledge, Stolen Vitality, Dark Rituals, and Soul Aegis to boost your minions' armor per level, which is 300 because we are level 100. Right now we have nothing into Warlock and 82 into Necromancer. Now, I'm doing more and more testing, and every time I make a refresh guide, this does change, and I have changed this again. We have 3 into Hunger. I have moved 5 into Grave Thorns. I have pull-in points out of Risen Army. The damage and the attack speed is just so minimal that I would rather boost the life and armor, and I will show you why. We are in Golemancer, so you need the plus to skeletons. So you need the +1 here and the +1 here. We have 3 into Cursed Blood, 5 into Aegis Fall, which is going to give us the armor shred, This mixed with our zombies is going to put us right around 150 to 200 stacks of armor shred, which is exactly where you want it. That's why I've pulled in some points out here. We do like having 3 skeleton vanguards. Believe it or not, they do decent damage, and it's just a free 3 melee minions. Definitely worth the 2 points. Now, like I said, I moved points out of Risen Army into Grave Thorns, which is going to give our minions 25% more life. And I'm going to come over here into Tyrant, and I'm going to immediately take that 24%. So now they're only going to be getting 1% increased health because I'm taking 24 of it. For myself, it really helps you with survivability in building your life. It's the best way to do it. And don't forget down here, Unearthed Arms, which is going to boost your melee physical damage for your minion army. Now, the rest of this is very simple. Starting right here with Frantic Summons, you are just going to go right around the horn. Okay? And then your final 5 are going to be in Veins of Malice. That's how you want to take it. I've also only put 1 point into Blades of the Forlorn because we are not a cold build. And really, you have so many minions hitting that even at only 7%, your minions will always be putting chill chance on the enemies. So that's where we're at for the Necromancer skill tree. Feels really, really good. And then your final 10 points go right here into Apo, which is increased intelligence and mana regen. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, where we're going to cover blessings, idols, gear, and the character sheet, starting with blessings. Now, for the most part, we have gone into survivability. We have void resistance, all resistance, endurance, and physical resistance. Remember, endurance is very important for this build. We are not focused on ward. We are focused on life resistance, crit avoidance, and endurance. We are also taking more mana just to make sure you have a big enough pool, which puts us right around 200. So those are the blessings. When it comes to idols, you want as much life as humanly possible. Life, 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 life. And then these are all life with the exception of 1, which has chance to apply Mark of Death on minion hit. You have to have this on one of your idols, and the roll range doesn't even matter. Even if you got the lowest range, which was 3%, you're hitting so often with so many minions that 3% will trigger on the enemies, okay? So those are the blessings, and those are the idols. Now, moving over to the gear. This build has lots of options, and it can get complicated, okay? So let me just explain. You do need Aaron's Will in order to make Golemancer, because you can't do it without it. You can only have 1 golem unless you are using my unique body armor, which gives you a maximum of 4. For this build, we are using 3. Now, in order to make 3 golems, you have to use Aaron's Will, and you need to use 2 hollow fingers. So when you have the 2 points in your passive, and you have 2 hollow fingers, and you have Aaron's Will, you can make 3 full-fledged golems, okay? The weapon that we are currently using is Mandate, and this is going to give you +2 to skills, and again, this is going to give you a lot of leech. So this is going to help keep you alive. Chance to gain 50 health on a minion hit as high as 26%. Chance to gain 50 health on a minion death, you can get it as high as 26%. And what's awesome about this weapon, it gives you implicit minion necrotic penetration, and your minions cannot be stunned. So they can't be stopped. They're going to continue moving forward. Now I'm going to go around the horn and show you the rest of the items. Helmet, plus the golem, plus the volatile zombie. Amulet, minion, health on an oracle amulet. Belt, mana regen, minion damage, life. Boots, movement speed, intelligence, life, crit avoidance. Relic, summon skeletal mage, intelligence, life, resistance. And our gloves, which is minion, crit avoidance, hybrid health. And this is going to give you armor mitigation, or your armor mitigation also applies to damage over time. And we've got a little bit of armor, at least on here, 773. Now, options, okay? Just follow me down the rabbit hole for a while because there's a lot you could do. Let's say on your Aaron's Will, you were able to get +1 to max skeleton, okay? If you were able to get that on there, you would only need 1 hollow finger. +1 to max skeleton, only 1 hollow finger. So you could pull off your hollow finger, and instead of hollow finger, you can come right here and get ribbons of blood. Okay, now what ribbons of blood is going to give you is 1, increased health, minion melee leech, increased leech rate, base physical damage, and your minions cannot be crit. That would mean that your minions literally have 100% crit avoidance and cannot be stunned through your mandate. Okay, very, very cool way to take the build. On top of that, if you wanted additional uniques that you could use, you could get rid of Eternal Gauntlets, and you could go down here and get Raven's Rise. Raven's Rise, which are right there. This would mean that your minions would take 28% less damage while moving. So now your minions cannot be crit, your minions cannot be stunned, and they take up to 28% less damage. And this gives you +2 to skills. On top of that, if you don't want to use an Oracle Amulet or you don't have a good one, you can go up here under Uniques and you can use a Death Rattle. Now, with Death Rattle, you are going to get a boost to your crit multiplier. You're going to get intelligence, but on here, your minions do take increased damage. So there's lots of uniques and legendaries available for this build, but the big one is, can you get +1 to max skeletons so that you could then use a Ribbons of Blood? Okay, hope that all made sense. Moving over to our stats. Intelligence, we were at 69 before I started moving things around. Vitality 9. Resistances fully maxed. Like I said, we had 770 armor before I started moving things around. So that's pretty good if you are using the gauntlets. Under defense, maxed endurance, 1200 endurance threshold, crit avoidance, 111. And when you look at your minion stats, you've got 314 minion crit multiplier. And on here, for your physical, you're going to be pushing around 765. So not too bad, and necrotic's going to be the same at 770. So damage-wise, when you're going Zoo Minion is always great. What you're always trying to figure out is how to stay alive. And with endurance, with crit avoidance, with your resistances, with your life, and using hunger and mandate to keep your life full, you're going to be pretty tanky. Now let's talk leveling. Aaron, this is great, but how do I take my level 1 Necromancer all the way to level 100 with what you're showing me? Great question. Now for me, when I am playing Acolyte, I level it the exact same way. The first skill you want to take is Summon Skeletons. And you want to go to the left and remove warriors, because skeletons are very frail. They die easily, so you want to keep them in the back and just keep them shooting. You then want to come down right here and get Fire Arrow and then Multi-Shot. So this is going to be your main damage dealer until you get Skeleton Mages with Summon Skeleton. Second skill you want to take is Summon Golem, and the nodes that you want are right here. You want to take AOS, you want to take Tower of Bones, and you want to take Fragments of the Fallen. So these are the 3 nodes you want with Golem, and it's going to make it where it generates lots of threat. You will have the largest version of Golem in the game, and it's going to help keep you alive. So you got Summon Skeletons, and you've got Summon Bone Golem. The third skill you want to take is Summon Volatile Zombie. This is going to be your cast. This is going to be your spam skill, and you want to come up and over and grab this node right here, Pull of the Grave, which is going to give you your kill threshold as you are going through the campaign. So those are going to be your 3 skills: Summon Skeleton, Summon Bone Golem, and Summon Volatile Zombie. You will also want to go to your skill bar and put an unspec'd transplant on it. That way, while you are spamming your zombies, you still have a movement skill. So you can still traverse the map, and you have your 3 minions tearing everyone up. You will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and refreshed Golemancer? Is there something I missed? Is there something I can do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I am hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only you think I earned it. If I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you so much to the first 131 people that have signed up. It is the best way to support into the future. You get the most bonus content. You get access to the VIP lounge. We just had Patreon movie night, and we have Patreon game night coming up. Access to audio and video streaming with me. It's the best way to support into the future. First link in the description for the Patreon. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron.